everybody. Welcome back to Sales Sheroes, where we champion women in sales with tips, tricks, insights, and guidance, of course, to navigate everything in the sales world. I'm Angie.
And I'm LaDonna. How are you, Angie? How's your sales week?
Hey, girl. I'm so good. Sales week, crushing. Prospecting, trying to get meetings. So it's actually been a crazy week because, in another quarter, as we move through the year, we're halfway through the year. If you have a fiscal year, calendar year, it's really a reflection point. I don't know about your sales, but like halfway through the year, it's kind of like a reflection point of how did I do the first half of the year? What am I projecting the second half of the year? Where can I win? So it's a little bit reevaluating and pivoting. How about you? How's your week been going?
Same. We're in the same position, like kind of looking at this year's business, looking at where we maybe could do a little bit different to like reface things. It feels good. There's been a lot of changes in the commercial world in Oregon, and I had a really big deal, the Portland airport last year. And so that sale is backed out, right? So November is when that shipped, and it's like a kind of those are once in a lifetime projects, right? Like, or a couple times in a lifetime. And so just knowing that large number is not there for this year, but understanding that the rest of the business is really good. And that is a bit of a mental game, right? Because I know, it's unlikely that I'll get $1 million deal in November that's going to ship. So, that's the reality. And but it kind of plays tricks on your mind, right? A bit. It can.
Yeah, it totally does. Navigating that through for sure. Yeah, that's tricky.
Ooh. Yeah. So we're excited to dive into today's topic, perfecting your sales pitch. Whether you're new to sales or a seasoned pro, refining your pitch is crucial for success.
Oh my gosh, 100%. So, a great sales pitch can definitely open the doors or close the doors for you. And I think a lot of seasoned sales reps can hear something about a new company and get their pitch down pretty quickly. But if you're new in sales, it takes a while to build up to that. So before we kind of dive into how can you be successful with a sales pitch, I think we should talk about why perfecting a sales pitch is even so important.
Yeah, for sure. Perfecting your sales pitch is crucial for women in sales for several reasons. And the number one reason I love so much, it's building confidence. A well-crafted sales pitch enhances confidence. Confidence is essential in sales as it influences how potential clients perceive you and your products and services. And if you go in with a lack of confidence, and sometimes I'm just going to say this, especially for the new people, the confidence will come. So don't be hard on yourself. Don't beat yourself up. The more you show up and the more you work on this, the more your confidence will build, because that's just how it works, right? Sometimes it's just fumbling through and looking silly a few times.
And confidence, it's funny how confidence is at the center of everything we do in sales, really. How you show up and how you're walking into a room or how you're picking up the phone to make that call. And I got to do a lot of personal development work around confidence, so that I have the courage to deal with rejections or anything like that. So I think if you do struggle out there with confidence, there's a lot of good webinars and podcasts for that. So first one, not surprising that it's building confidence. The second one that is crucial is establishing credibility. A polished pitch will help establish credibility and authority when you're speaking it. So I think women often face the biases and stereotypes in sales. We talk about that. And a strong pitch can demonstrate the professionalism and expertise that we have, and we can break down those barriers.
Yes, for sure. And it helps you engage your audience. An effective sales pitch captures and holds the audience's attention. It allows women to convey their message succinctly and compelling, making a strong first impression. And at first, it won't always feel authentic, right? Your pitch may feel disingenuous because you may be brand new at what you're selling, and maybe you don't even have a strong passion behind what you're selling. This will grow and evolve and get great over time, and will really help you engage your audience in a healthy way. So don't be afraid to fumble a few times. And if you're still fumbling and you've been doing it for years, now is a great time to refine it and to get it really dialed in.
Absolutely. Another reason is overcoming objections. I think a perfect pitch anticipates and addresses the potential objections right? You're prepared, you're ready to go. But this particularly is important, I think, for us women because we might face additional scrutiny. I know I do in the tech world, being the only female walking into a room most of the time. We do face some of that additional scrutiny, and that can ensure that they can respond confidently and effectively if we already are ready to overcome those objections. So I think that's really important.
Yeah, really important. It can also help create opportunities. A great pitch opens doors to new opportunities. It can lead to more meetings, more referrals, and ultimately closing sales. For women, this is critical in building a robust professional network, and advancing your career is really just creating those opportunities.
Yeah, another one is personal branding. I think a consistent and powerful sales pitch contributes to personal branding, and that will really help us women establish a great, unique identity in the marketplace, no matter what you're selling. So we want to make sure that we're making it memorable to the clients and the stakeholders.
I love that. Effective communication is so crucial in perfecting your sales pitch. Women often have to juggle multiple responsibilities. A well-rehearsed pitch ensures that you can communicate your value proposition effectively and efficiently, saving you time and energy. I mean, right? Like you're running out the door, you got the 2-year-old, the 4-year-old, you're packing your lunch at the last minute and you're flying out the door, and then you go into a sales meeting. If you already know your pitch, that's going to help you be an effective communicator. It's going to be easier to compartmentalize and shut off family time to professional time. And I speak to that because I was a single mom for a long time. I mean, I one time had dropped my youngest baby off at daycare, and I had a big spit up down the back of my black pantsuit. And I didn't even know it for like half the day, but I was confident because I knew what I was doing. And like, finally someone said, "I don't know what's on your back. I don't know if it's bird poop." I'm like, "Oh, I'm a mom. That's baby puke." And it's been there since 8 this morning.
Shout out to the moms. Yeah, shout out to the moms who walked into a pitch sales center, a sales meeting, not knowing what is on your outfit. But that's a really good one. Effective communication definitely can help overcome some of those. And I think lastly on this is building relationships. That sales, as we all know, is about building relationships. And a strong pitch will help initiate the relationships on a positive note, definitely fostering trust and rapport from the outset. So, I mean, now that's kind of all the crucial reasons why you want to perfect your sales pitch. So we're going to break down some actionable steps for you. We love to do that on Sales Sheroes, is give us kind of what the problem and pain points are, but then also what the positive outcome is as well. So first step, let's talk about knowing your audience.
Yes, understanding who you're talking to is fundamental. Researching your prospects thoroughly, knowing their pain points, their needs, their preferences. The more you know, the more tailored and effective your pitch can be. And we live in a time where you can really research easily. I mean, it used to be when Angie and I were first starting in sales, it was more challenging to research our clients. There's no excuse to not take the time, do the due diligence, and research your client before you go in.
Yeah, that's totally right. And it's not about what you want to sell. It's about what they want to hear. Now, I'm going to say that again. It's not about what you want to sell. It's about what your customer wants to hear. And remember, perception is reality. So let's talk about clarity and consciousness. Your pitch should be clear and to the point, and it should avoid jargon and unnecessary details, which when I'm very nervous, I use a lot of jargon and unnecessary details. And so when I travel with engineers, just a quick story, I travel with engineers. And so I've had quite a few engineers in my day. And when they get to know me, they know like, okay, what is Angie saying? Like, she was good until this one point, and then I get nervous or something, and then I just start spouting out a bunch of stuff. That is not effective communication, right? And so that really can trip you up. So let's chat about that one.
Yeah, totally. And I can't agree with that more, because time is precious. You need to capture someone's attention really quickly and make your value proposition very clear. And speaking of value, highlighting the benefits is our third tip. So yeah, I mean, I can't, like, time is precious. I want to say that time is precious. And I feel like after the pandemic, a lot of us have recognized the importance of time even more, like wasting time in meetings. I don't want my time wasted. Like, get to the point. I want to have relationship, but I also want you to get to the point of why you might have something that would be beneficial to me.
Yeah, and I think that's important to touch on for just a second, because we have experience in a pre-pandemic world, and now we're selling in a post-pandemic world. And I think that that's something that we always have to be mindful of, is the overload of information coming to all of our clients and customers and even ourselves. So for us to rush through our sales pitch or rush through what we're trying to do doesn't serve anyone. But at the same time, being mindful of their time, our time. And I call it out at the beginning every time when I thank them for being there is I thank you. I know your time is valuable, as is mine. And I always say that, as is mine, because I want them to know that I'm in sales and I'm here to come see you because I kind of have to. You're on my account list. But you know what? I don't have to pick you today. So, right. So I think that it's kind of level setting with the customer too about that. So I think that the timing is very crucial for us to be mindful of their time, our time, and streamlining that. We all want to be told the information, but we're in this now new world of digital selling that we need it quicker. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I totally agree with you on that, on that piece of it. So we also need to focus on how the product or service will solve their problems or improve their situation, which that's huge, right? Will it help them? Yes or no? And the benefits over features, right? It'll save you time. It'll save you ROI, right? You need to share that with them. You want to paint that picture of the positive impact and experience that it'll make, whatever it is you're selling, to that customer.
Yeah, totally. Remember, practice makes perfect. We talked about this a bit at the beginning. Rehearse your pitch until it feels natural. And don't just practice with yourself, practice with your spouse, practice with a friend. Like, hey, can I just run through this really quickly with you? Practice with colleagues in front of a mirror, record yourself. The more practice, the more confident you become.
I know. How many times have you just practiced your pitch in the morning while you're getting ready, putting your face on? I've done that, even all the way down to hello, my name is Angie and I'm with blah, 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 blah. Sometimes you just have to do that, right? So that way you have that confidence to do it. So that is a really good point. I think confidence is key in any sales interaction. Finally, make it a conversation, not a monologue. Engage with your prospect, ask the questions, listen actively. I think that's an important one.
Yeah, listening is so important. It shows that you value their input and are genuinely interested in helping them. Plus, it provides you with valuable information to tailor your pitch further, but also to tailor the whole presentation. Like maybe this isn't the time for you to present a product to them. We're not always closing. I know that lots of people say that, and I'm going to disagree with that a tiny bit, always be closing. I've heard that my whole life. It's less about closing. It's always be searching. In my opinion, it is always be searching for an answer so that you can be a consultant to them to solve a problem. When you're really genuinely looking to solve a problem, that's when you'll have strong, long relationships. And the reality is maybe they don't have a problem right now. So if you're not listening, and if you're not asking those open-ended questions, you're not going to know. So listening is crucial in every single step of the sales process.
Yeah. And you brought up a good point too, they don't always need what you have today. And I know that you've gone on sales calls where you're like, oh, they didn't need you today, or they just bought your competitor yesterday, right? Yeah. I've done the same thing. And it's you have to look at that as even those warm leads of okay, they bought my competitor for a 3-year contract. So technically I don't need to talk to them for another 3 years. So I'm just going to forget about them. I might not be with this company for another 3 years, but pause for a moment on that scenario, because I think it's important that for me, I'm in the tech world, which it sounds large, but it's a really small industry of people that sell the type of things that I sell, and people know everyone. So if I wait to talk to Bob in 3 years, Bob will meet 100 more Angies along the way. But if I nurture Bob and stay connected and go to networking events or email him relevant content about security breaches in the area, Bob will remember me as that consultant, which you just mentioned that. I think that's really important to share to people is don't just discount people because they don't need your product today. Put them on a list and go, okay, but is there a potential for me to build a relationship? Or is that person connected to someone who can also bridge me? I think that's a really good tip to help with people.
Yeah.
If you agree with that one. So just to recap, I know we kind of threw a lot at you guys here pretty quickly, but to recap kind of the 5 tips for perfecting your sales pitch. Number 1, know your audience. Number 2, be clear and concise. Number 3, highlight the benefits of your product. Number 4, practice. Can't get enough of that. Number 5, engage, and then always be listening.
Yeah, these steps will have to help you craft a compelling and effective sales pitch that resonates with your prospects.
Yeah. LaDonna, I'm curious. Do you have a time when you perfected your sales pitch? and you kind of saw some positive results out of it?
Yeah, actually, I mean, I have one. It's been a number of years ago. It was at a show, at a school facilities management show, and you're talking to a lot of people in those scenarios, right? It's not like walking into someone's office. I was at a facilities management show, so I knew the audience was mostly facilities managers that are in school districts, sometimes making decisions, sometimes not making decisions. So my pitch was really clear. And I closed a big school district in my area from that one meeting. And it was, like solving, I know a lot of the problems with facilities managers. So my pitch was geared toward how one of my products can really solve a solution for them through ordering through a contract, budget pricing, and extending their dollar through the year.
That's
and
awesome.
so yeah, it was, and he's still a friend. I had left the industry, come back to the industry. I just saw him at a show, and it was really fun. He's not in a buying position now, but he knows a lot of people, and so he got me connected to some other people. But it was fun to like pick that relationship back up. I then worked with him for like 5 years. And so it was like fun to repick that relationship up and learn where his kids are and what his wife and he are doing. And I mean, but that was from a good sales pitch, because you're seeing so many people it's really important in those situations when you're networking and when you're seeing multiple people in a short amount of time, you need to be clear about what you can do to help solve their problem. And then if you don't know what the problem is of the people that you're seeing, like that's one of our tips is like, you need to figure that out.
Right. I think that is a great example too of knowing what problem you can solve for, perfecting that, knowing you're walking to a facilities event, knowing what pain points they have before you even walk in, running that through your head. I think that's really crucial on the success of that one. Good job, girl. For me, for me, it's a little bit different, but one of the most memorable ones for me was talking to a tech startup earlier in my career, and they were super hesitant on investing in the particular product and services our company had to offer. And if you know anything about tech startups, they run very nimble. They don't have a lot of money. So there's a lot of those budget constraints and staffing constraints. So knowing that going in, I also tailored my pitch and focused on the long-term return on investment, ROI, that they could see. And I needed to articulate that very clearly, concisely, and explain to them how we could help them and then help them scale efficiently and more cost effectively. So by addressing their specific pain points and actively listening to their concerns, which were budget related, we were able to turn their hesitation into an exciting positive outcome. So I think, again, just there have been times I've sold to sold, right? Like I'm selling to sell because I need to keep the lights on. I need a quick dollar, blah, 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 blah. And those didn't yield me long-term relationships to get me bigger sales. They got me quick fixes, but nothing long-term. And I think that by being able to perfect those pitches and by being able to study your customer before you go in, those are crucial. Those are fundamental tasks to selling, I think. And do not get me wrong. I've been doing this forever. I still get tripped up on what's my sales pitch when our company goes, okay, here's your new pitch, learn it. We're going to, in 3 hours, we're going to have you regurgitate it back to your team. For some reason, I get more nervous telling my information and product back to my own teammates in my own company, who are all very kind, by the way. I get so nervous to do that versus going into a Fortune 50 boardroom with a bunch of men, and telling them what's going on in our cyber world. So it's kind of funny how that is, but we still do it. I mean,
we do. And peer practicing is the hardest. Really, I feel like that's true. Peer practicing is the hardest. I worked for a different manufacturer a number of years ago, and our regional manager was exceptional. And so he oftentimes paved the way for other regional managers in training. And so our region, he came up with this really great idea. It was brilliant. I learned so much. It was awful. He gave us a scenario, a client from another territory in our area, not ours, like a specific scenario to do a long-term build and sell for Salesforce, and then recorded us. So we came to our regional meeting. So Jordan was some healthcare in Utah, and I had to sell to the sales rep that sold that account, that actual account. And so it was like the strategic selling of this. Like the scenarios were deep and detailed. We were recorded. It was going out to everyone in our whole company. I worked for a Berkshire Hathaway company. It was a big company. It was terrifying. It was awful. It was painful. but it was so good, right? Like I learned so much. And so, I say that because in summary, perfecting your sales pitch is not just about making the sale. It's about establishing a foundation of confidence. So do things that make you nervous. Do things like the practice with your peer. If that makes you nervous, find a peer and say, hey, let's practice this. Give me a scenario. I'm going to sell this back to you, or I'm going to uncover the pieces I need to make this long-term sale. It establishes your credibility. It helps you with effective communication that can empower you to succeed and thrive in the competitive world of sales. We encourage all of our sales Sheroes to take these steps and apply them to your own sales journeys.
Yes, absolutely. You know, and remember, it's all about continuous improvement. Keep refining your pitch, seek feedback, and stay confident. I think one thing that has helped me through the years too, this is going to sound cheesy, but sometimes we divulge very personal and private information on our Sales Sheroes podcast. So pay attention. Is sometimes I'll record myself with my phone. If I'm in the bathroom getting ready and I have a pitch coming up, I can't stand the sound of my own voice. But when you listen back the information that you're trying to share to someone and you're refining your pitch and you're, look to yourself, give yourself the confidence to go, I know what I'm saying, but am I saying it concisely and effectively for this customer that I'm going to see? And so sometimes recording yourself and listening to it back can really help you pitch or pivot or tailor it to whatever it is you need, or omit. I've been there where I've omitted things. So I think that's really important too for any of our sales Sheroes to stay confident.
Yeah, I love that. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Sales Sheroes. If you have any questions or want to share your success stories, please connect with us on social media. If you know a salesperson, a saleswoman that could benefit from this, please share it with them, have them tune in. We're really here to empower and help women really, really succeed on their sales journeys.
Yes. Thank you so much. And until next time, keep perfecting that pitch and go out there and close those deals.